Philip Dutton continues to remain atop the leaderboard, as you just saw there moments ago. And Pamukcu sits confidently behind him. But this young lady, speaking of confidence, is one that can come in and shine. She is now just getting established at this level, really having competed at it for just about over a year. And she's got a few wins to her credit already.
Yeah, she won the 4-star long out in Temecula, California. And a dressage score of 32.9 left her 6-time penalty. She was in first place. Molly, also one of our developing athletes that traveled on the developing last year, the tour to the UK. She competed at Mill Street's Nations Cup.
Trains with Tammy Smith, former winner here, and you can see in the back of your screen there, Tammy positioned up against that defender pillar there with her legs crossed on the ramp. And this is a young lady who's very competitive. She's also managing being a full-time student at UCLA.
They were not able to get their completion here last year, so I think she's very much here with something to prove. We'll be looking to finish on whatever score we see as she exits this arena in the next few minutes. You know, not as big of a mover and as expressive as we just saw Robin's horse, but very correct, very accurate, very capable. You know, and when we think about our young riders and the horses that we want them to be on, honestly, something that's a little bit more short coupled, it's got an active, quick step that's going to allow for them to really ride positively and not have to manage so much on the cross country. That's what we want these young riders coming through, so that they learn to ride correctly. Super change there. You can kind of see whispers of Tammy Smith in that move, you know, just very confident in asking for that. You've got the smooth, correct position of that half pass, and she's just able to really, she's not having to manage a lot. She's able to present this horse in a really nice way at the end of the rein. Beautifully postured.
All of a sudden, she's trending right up with our leader, too. And that's where you're going to see the execution of her being brave. She goes for it across the diagonal. If you've ever trained with Tammy Smith, you know there's no stone left unturned. And just when you think you're good, she's going to make you be great.
And this, you know, interestingly enough, this circling back to the test and how it suits different horses. Yeah. This horse's quality of canter is delightful, right? She's able to really ride the rhythm. And it makes you like the horse and the rider more and more. As she does, that's her immobile halt. Might have been slightly frozen, judging by the brace and the rein back, but neither here nor there. But you know that you kind of fell in love with this horse and the canter work, and so now we'll see where the trot, if she can stay up with our leader.
What's interesting is we saw her come in and not be able to totally nail her center line, which we've seen a lot of people do, and then they trend downward, and she kind of had to trend up from that first movement, which she did very well. And then she's going to really want to go for it here in the walk because the horse looks quite relaxed. And this is the moment when you can see a little tension, if there is it. When you pick up the reins, you have to do it very gently, and you saw her very tactfully do it there into the trot.
But it's also so important, that moment, Frankie, I always say this all the time, don't be weird. Just pick up the reins.
It's true. You do get a bit weird on accident.
Yeah, like the horses kind of, if you normally pick up the reins happily and then all of a sudden you get a bit weird about it, you know, it shows up.
So true. She's one of our youngest riders in the field, and it would be a huge moment for Molly Duda if she can head into the podium here.
She did a nice job there, you know, where you want to see her finish those last few strides, but you thought almost in the beginning if she pushed it too much, the horse could lose balance, but she did a masterful job keeping him in his step. She's riding beyond her years, that's for sure.
That's where I think, you know, in the United States, particularly here, they've begun to develop these amazing programs for up-and-coming riders, and we're starting to see that pay off in young people like Molly Duda, right? The exposure and experience from going on those developing tours, doing things like that, it does pay off, and you really see it in their riding and their maturity.
doesn't quite get the stretch we want. Again, we talk about this little package, and it's hard to get that stretch, and she just kind of got over it and down her center line. So won't get a great mark there, but she's still doing so super. We're going to, I think, what do you think, Frankie? She's going to make it in the 20s?
I think she's definitely going to make it into the 20s. I think you make that an easy choice for me.
Just wanted to set you up for success.
Tammy Smith, I appreciate that. That's a good friend right there. So a smile from T. Smith is always a good sign, and a big pat from Molly Duda. She loves this horse, and a great job done there by this young lady from the West Coast. All smiles. So they will come out, and we will await their final score, because we do think it's going to put them in the mix. It's going to be enough for them to get close enough to Philip and Caroline. We don't think so, but it could be enough to